Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good middle of the night whenever you're watching this program, and welcome to another exciting episode of Porch Talk. I, of course, am Paul W. Marino, as if there was any question of that, and to my left and your right is Eugene Michaelenko.
Glad to be here.
So am I, Gene.
Been gone a week. Took a week off.
Yeah, well, actually, I found lately I'm sleeping a lot.
Days are getting longer though.
That's true.
More like. Let's get to my show. My show.
Well, before we continue with your show, Joanne, would you please put the photo in front of us?
You did this one already.
Well, not that I remember. All right, folks. This is obviously a railroad crossing. The question is, which railroad crossing? Yes, it is in North Adams, not in Williamstown, not in Adams, not in Cheshire, Clarksburg. I'm not sure there is a railroad crossing in Clarksburg, and certainly not in Cheshire.
Sure there is. Cheshire has railroad crossing in 3 places, I believe. Actually, was it a rail trail? Okay.
All right, so
I
it's
like this
not
picture.
that.
I like
Yeah.
this picture.
Yeah, me too.
It's a surprise one for me, and as I look at it now, yeah.
Well, you
And
know,
it looks
there's
like
another
today.
one that I especially love, and like this one, that railroad crossing is no longer there, and it was taken before the Hadley overpass was put in. So you're looking down at Main Street, down what's now American Legion Drive, and there's a train powering through.
Yes. There's pictures in here of that yard. You're going to see them, and the bridges over State Street, and the railroad bridge over the Hoosick.
Oh, goody. All right, so thank you, Joanne. And there we are once again. Oh, the poor audience. Well, at least they have to look at this side of the screen.
That's my good side.
So if you think you know or think you have a guess as to where this railroad crossing is behind us, oh, this is tricky. Yeah, it gives you more respect for weathermen, or rather weather people. If you have a guess, please give us a call at 664-4408. And if you are correct, and you call in before the final 5 minutes when we give the answer, you will have bragging rights until the first Friday in March.
A whole month away. Okay.
Actually, 2
Oh, no,
weeks.
2 weeks. Oh my God, that's too short. I found these photos on Commonwealth Digital. Someone from the North Adams Public Library has submitted them, and they were scanned, and now they're there's been some kind of a collaboration between the Boston Public Library and a group who wants to document other collections of people's museums and little histories. Adams is not in there, but North Adams has these pictures. They're all stereopticons. They're all so you could wear.
Oh, cool.
So they're at the library. We got to have we have a bunch of scopes from the Adams Historical Society. We could have a party and people could look at these in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have one of those vision? You did. Good. I thought so. Well.
Yeah. So let's put the first picture on, please. All right. Now, Eugene thought that this was the first Drury High School. In fact, it was the first Drury High School, but this is actually Drury Mark II. Here, just let's try it this way.
Oh, good. Okay. Smart.
All right, so note the nice clock tower. This is actually Drury Mark II. And as you can see, it's a second empire. And so it has the mansard roof on it. The original was more Italianate. And it also had a clock tower, but that was in the center of the building.
You roll it down. I want to see the cupola. Memorize that cupola because it's going to come in another picture.
It is?
You'll see it in the distance.
Wow.
Look for it in a theater near you.
Now, actually, when they...
Oh, why do we refer to him as Mark II? What's Mark mean?
Mark II.
Mark.
Well, the
Drury
first
Mark.
one is Mark I, Mark II, and what's now...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it's... I'm not sure why I'm using it as just a way of being clever.
Oh, okay. I get it.
When the present Colgrove Park Elementary School was being done over from Drury Mark III,
We should put pictures.
it was discovered, no, I didn't want to zoom out yet
Oh,
because
you got to talk
you
about that. You
notice these windows here with the stone lintel over it.
Yeah.
Those were uncovered when they opened the back wall of part of the building, because when the first actual Drury High School was built and opened in 1917, this building was gutted and they used it as the gymnasium. But their front outside wall was built into the back outside wall of the new school. And so what they did was they opened the wall where they could so that the lights could be seen when you're in certain rooms in the new building.
That's nice that they preserve some of the past
Yes,
and brought it
indeed.
into the future.
Now, there was also a plaque on the side of this building.
So wait, are they still in existence? Can we go see them this week if we wanted to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Have to talk to the principal first.
Right, of course. And didn't you once show a picture in a gymnasium with a girl gym in gym class?
Yes.
And isn't that wall in that picture?
No, the wall is not.
Oh.
But it was taken in the gymnasium.
Right.
And in fact, it was the first photo taken in that gymnasium.
Oh, that picture's gone. Here's a side view of the place.
Now, this addition was added on. Duh. I forget the date. I would have to consult my research papers. But
So what's the vintage of this building? 1870 to 1890?
no, it was yeah. I think
no,
it was
to
about
1970.
1870.
Were they using this until 1917 when they built?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because
So
they
it's
built the new school right in front of it.
Oh, so this is
Now, notice
up on
this
Drury
thing
Hill.
here.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, the hand is not showing, but that plaque, it's a stone plaque, and it was taken down before the building was demolished.
And where's it now?
The last time I saw it, it was in the boiler room of the new Drury.
Wow, interesting. And what does the plaque say? Nathan Drury Academy.
I do not remember. We'll have
Something
to
in
look,
something
we'll
in
have to
Latin.
look that up.
So-
Now, when this was partly demolished for the new school, so these two upper floors were taken off, and the building in back, well, I guess the top two floors were taken off, and no, the top floor was taken off.
Are there 5 levels in this building? Were they using the base, or is the basement probably
Oh
still
yeah, they
maintenance?
used the basement too.
'Cause that's a lot of stairs. That's a big school. That's a fire hazard.
This is the one that was actually built by the town. The original building was put up with the money left by Nathan Drury, and the school wasn't being run properly, and the town was brought in to run the school, but the property was still owned by the Drury Foundation, and they gave the building to the town. Town tore it down and built this in its place, but the property was still owned by the Drury Foundation. And after the new school was built, the foundation decided to disband, probably because the Drury family was extinct by that time.
But the legal document is still there somewhere.
Yes, it is. The thing was, the will stated what the building was to be built of, and as long as it was used as a school, it was available. But once it stopped being used as a school, then it would revert to the Drury heirs.
This happened in Adams, the Plunkett Memorial Hospital. When it closed, and if it was not being used for a hospital or educational purposes or anything, that the family, they could sell it and the family would get the money. And that actually happened. Margaret Plunkett Lord came to town and worked on it, and she, I forgot what the negotiated price was, but the town had to buy it from the Plunkett estate. And I can see that you're lucky it didn't happen in North Adams.
Yes, well, of course, it continued to be used as a school. And then when Drury High School closed and they built the new one south of town and just downhill from the dump, thank you very much, it was still used for educational purposes. But the foundation had long since disbanded, and the city could have sold it and then erected a hotel there. Thank goodness they didn't.
Next picture.
All right, here we are in downtown North Adams. We are looking west along Main Street, and this building in the back, that's the Richmond Hotel. Just use the mouse, dear man.
Oh, good idea. Okay. Now let me use it. Let me get it under my control.
There.
And, oh, yeah, you can do that. Oh, you get a better view of those things,
Yeah,
too.
that's the original Richmond Hotel. And to its left, you see there's a building with a roof. I'm not sure if that's the old Black Tavern or if that was demolished by the time this photo was taken.
You may see it in one of those panoramic shots. There's like 4 or 5 photos in here taken from High Street, and it looks down right into this area, so you may be able to tell from those photos.
Now, the building over here, where Hastings was, I am not sure that the Wilson House existed yet. This might have been taken in the 1860s, which is when photography first came here.
We have a bunch of these stereopticon local shots, these stereopticon, whatever they're called, and they all range about early 70s and late 60s. So the Civil War is over. They finally get things are easing up, and people get to take pictures and buy this kind of stuff. We've got one of Renfrew being built, and we know that Renfrew was being built in 1869. So that's how we dated the photos. And so this is definitely late 60s,
Yeah, that's
early
cool.
70s. All these photos are, I think, because they're still building the Hoosick Tunnel at this time. There's still people going into the ground, and there's pictures of that in here too. Wait till you see them. Anything else you want to say about this? Oh, I'm still mystified by these things. They've got hooks on them. And there's another set of them in front of the Wilson house. I bet you something for a horse or maybe pulling crap off the back of a wagon.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be for hitching horses. These shorter columns in the front, I think, would be for hitching horses. Those with the cross beams.
If anybody has any idea what they could be, please call in the number
664-4408.
I like the trees. Okay.
Okay, this is the Methodist Church, the one that existed before the one that closed.
Is this Mark? You use Mark with the version of the
No,
talk
not
about?
Mark.
Mark.
This would actually be Mark III because they started in their first official church was a barn on Center Street.
In this picture, just for our audience's viewing, this is the corner of East Main Street and North Church. So right now there is the Methodist, what is it called? The Berkshire Museum of...
Yeah, it's Rudd's museum, or one of his museums.
And then after that is not a funeral home anymore, right?
That's right. It's now a dental office.
Right.
But yeah, that was the parsonage. And when this church burned, which I think was 1929, the remains were demolished and were used to build houses on the road to Williamstown. There's a string of them that were built from these materials. Incidentally, this was the first Methodist church in North Adams to have an organ.
Oh.
And as I was telling you before the show, if you look between the two towers there, excuse me, you can see there's a rose window. And I wish I had a photo of that because that was given by Elizabeth Sibley, who was I believe the eldest daughter of Giles and Zilpah Tinker, who were some of the founders of the Methodist Church in North Adams.
And she married into the Sibley family?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
she
know
married Hiram Sibley.
He married a local girl? He married what?
Yes.
North Adams? Wow. Okay.
And in fact, they were both minors when he moved out to Rochester.
Yeah.
And there he made his fortune with Ezra Cornell helping to establish Western Union.
Yep, telegraph. And all born from North Adams. Oh, this building here also now has another mansard roof. Just to give you a little architectural history. In Adams, there were 3 buildings built, all with mansard roofs in 1869. So that was the vogue. This was the it house. And probably that's why they took this picture. The 3 that are in Adams are all gone. Plunkett's Mansion used to be, is where the Great Lake Federal Credit Union had a mansard, where the big Adams Hometown Market parking lot across from the town common. That was a 4-bay tenement, huge building with commercial and offices. And then the third building is the Academy, which I think was built around the same time that your jury was, in 1869. All in that style, but they're all gone. They took our mansard roofs away.
All right. This is the first actual Methodist church, Mark II.
What happened to this one? Too small?
Yeah, they outgrew it.
Because I'm sorry, I did it again, didn't I? Because look in the background here.
Yeah, that's the tower from Drury Academy.
Yep. And so this was made out of wood, or I guess. It makes
No,
like
it looks more like brick to me.
Really. And you see, the mansion is already there before.
Yes.
So they built the big palatial house before they built the church. Okay.
Not necessarily. They may have been built at the same time.
It looks completed to me.
Well, at any rate.
In Adams, the big rectory on the hill that they rent out, that was originally built by the first Irish priest to come to Adams. But his church was down on Park Street, in the back room of it's Real Eye Gallery, and before that was Simmons Furniture, and that back end was that church where the Irish Catholics used to be. So he built this big palatial place up on the hill while they were still in that wooden barn down on Park Street. Anyhow, he racked up a big debt paying for it, and he died like 2 years after it was built. They had to get in another pastor to clean up the debt. It's a classic. It's a beautiful Greek revival thing.
Yeah.
I think it's better than that one.
All right. Now this one.
This is Ella Brown's house in Adams. This is in their collection. I said, I got to put this in. This is now right. Let's see, what would that be? No, that's the C.T. Plunkett Park building school. Where those trees are to the left would be probably the entrance to McDonald's today. Yeah, and then the C.T. Plunkett School, and use it right. He had a huge conservatory. He had this big greenhouse that he went and had special gardeners come in and grow for him.
Yeah, if you ever go up to Cuttingsville, Vermont, yeah, it's quite a drive, but you get up there, and that's where the Bowman Vault is. And Bowman, I think it was John Bowman, was born in Cuttingsville, and he moved over to New York State to become an industrialist. He and his wife had a daughter who died as a baby, and then they had another daughter who died at 18, and then the mother died about the same time. So he brought his family back to Cuttingsville, and he built a house across the road from Oak Glen Cemetery, and there he had a palatial mausoleum built. And
Taj Mahal. Yeah.
no, it's not the Taj Mahal. It is a bit more ornate than most mausoleums, but the door is one solid slab of granite, very finely hinged. And you go in there, well, you can't go in anymore, but they do have an industrial strength screen door, and they open the inside door every spring, do a cleanup in there, and then leave the door open so you can go up and look inside. And the crypts are stacked floor to ceiling, and he gave his family top billing. His crypt is the lowest one, followed by his wife, followed by their younger daughter, followed by the baby.
Ugh.
It has an altar where he went every day to pray. He lived right across the road, so he would go across. There are shoe scrapers, bronze shoe scrapers, so he could clean his shoes off, go inside, and he would pray at that little altar. It has mirrored panels facing each other, so if you could stand between them, you would get the endless hall effect.
Oh, God.
It has a bust, well, no, a life-size statue of the baby was put in. A bust of his daughter and a bust of his wife. And when he died, a bust of him was placed in there.
The whole family.
Yeah, and that's not all.
Bowman, B-O-W-M-A-N?
Yes.
Okay, finish.
There is a conservatory next door
That-
where they could have fresh flowers in the house and in the vault every day. And
Wow.
it was also used to grow decorative trees and shrubs for the cemetery. Now, here's the Lollapalooza. Outside the door of the vault is a life-size statue of Bowman himself, standing at the door with his top hat in the crook of his arm, and he's holding a funeral wreath that has a ribbon on it, "To my dear family." In his left hand, he has the key to the vault. And it looks as if he is listening, as if he's expecting to hear the voices of his family inside.
Phew.
Yeah,
And the name of it is Cuttingsville?
Cuttingsville,
Gotta Google that. And Bowman, what was his first name?
John.
John Bowman. Okay.
Yeah,
There were
and-
Bowmans and Adams years ago, the early settlers, but no relation.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. I thought that was a tie-in, but it's the conservatory with Colonel Mustard and the candlestick. Get back to the show here. How do you get back? Oh, thank you.
All right, now, you think this one is North Adams?
It said it was. That's all I can't place it.
Pardon.
My first thought was somewhere on Eagle Street, or it almost looks like that Eagle Street.
Actually, I think it looks more like
Main.
State Street.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
What I would have to do is I would have to study this with a map and whatever other photos I have of State Street.
Or go to the newspapers. I bet you there's a news article about this. 69. It might be in a transcript. This looks big.
Well, that
it looks
time-
big enough they took a picture of it.
Yes.
So they were. But anyhow, 69, 70. I think all these photos were taken.
I'm especially interested by this octagonal piece there.
It's got to be. It had to come down with the building. You think it was reused somewhere?
Well, actually, it looks as if part of the building is missing. As if this was
Like the
either
roof
a
is burnt
fire
off.
or during demolition, because you can
It's a
see
fire.
chimneys
Yeah.
through there. Yeah.
Oh, Is that chimneys or are they church spires?
No, they look more like chimneys to me.
Yeah. Ooh. Get it. Heck, and they got all the guys are posing. I don't see any firemen. I just see men in suits. Whatever. There's another bizarre one that was in that collection. It said it was Harvey Arnold's lawn at Carnival or something like that. Just wrote it down. You know who Harvey Arnold is, right?
Yes, one of the Arnold brothers.
And Arnold Printworks.
Yes.
So this is no small fry. This is big guy. Great fence. But you do this? Yeah. That's some good fences. And
Good
look,
fences make good neighbors.
right. And look at this stuff hanging on the tree. There's this little gizmo here. Is this? And this round thing here. There's two round things. The first one's another like gazebo.
Well, that would be part of a formal garden.
And the second one is a fountain. He's got a bubbling fountain back there. And look, they got a ladder against something. Didn't quite finish decorating, hanging those big wreaths. But where is this? Where did Harvey and Arnold live? On River Street? In the 70s, 60s, and 70s? You got to look on a map.
Yeah, I will.
There is the Beers Atlas of 76, and I bet you he would find it there.
All right, this is the Wilson House, built on the site of the North Adams House, which was where Nathaniel Hawthorne spent the summer of 1838, which does not mean to say that he spent the entire summer holed up in his hotel room. But it's certainly where he lived for the entire summer of 1838.
So, when was the Wilson House built, you know? Because that would definitely date this
That
picture.
was about 1870.
Just after Civil War.
It was,
all,
yeah, he was the inventor of the Wheeler-Wilson sewing machine.
Oh, that's right, the sewing. I forgot the sewing machine connect.
And interestingly enough,
Do you think, we haven't located this. This is at the corner of Main and Holden.
yes,
And what's there now? Like a
the
Brookshire
Empire Building.
Yeah. And the Brookshire Emporium is there now. And
Yeah.
what's on the corner?
This also had the first theater in North Adams in it. It was a small opera house occupying the second and third floors, but it was never, pardon, it was never terribly popular. And I think because no one in North Adams knew how to run a theater.
That's a joke, right?
No.
At that time, no one knew how to run a theater. I know that Theo Plunkett put on Pirates of the operetta Pirates of Penzance, or is it another one of those? Anyhow, he had it in Adams, and then they advertised that he was playing at the Wilson House. When did this burn?
I'm sorry?
When did this burn? When did Wilson House?
Yes, this burned in 1912.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, maybe I'm wrong about that.
However,
Theo would
well,
have been too young.
in 1902, the Sullivan brothers owned this, and they built a theater behind it, the Empire Theater. And when this burned in 1912, not a single loss of human life. The next morning, they were already talking about rebuilding. They rebuilt the theater, also naming it the Empire, and they built the Empire building in front of it.
Okay.
But the first fully enclosed theater was built by the Father Matthew Total Abstinence Society.
Oh, I remember that over on Center Street, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. You told me about that last time.
All right. This is the, these are the first Chinese laborers who came to North Adams. They were marched under guard from Union Depot to the Sampson Shoe Mill on Marshall Street. And then they were brought out and lined up, and this photo was taken.
And they came in
1870.
1869. Oh, 70. Okay. And look at, they're still wearing like native Chinese.
Oh, yes,
costumes.
they wore those clothes.
Came like Chinamen.
Yeah,
Is
they
that
came.
derogatory? No.
Well, in fact, that is what saved them from violence, because the
Oh, they respected them or something. They were amazed by their
no,
appearance.
no. Washington Gladden was living in North Adams when they arrived, and he describes that Sampson was there to meet the train with a small army of private police, probably Pinkertons, and the strikers were there ready to do violence to whoever got off the train, but their clothing was so alien in its appearances. And of course, they had their hair done up in queues. They were more interested in gawking at them than they were in attacking them.
What a ploy.
So they were, no, well, it was not a ploy. This is the way they came.
Yeah. Also, 7069, when was the Transcontinental Railroad finished? In like 1869, 70.
Yeah, thereabouts.
So we are like stuck in this time thing of all the 60s turning over to the 70s.
I wish you'd stop doing that to your microphone.
I don't mean to. I lost something to attach it to.
I don't mean to. All right, this is a photo that was taken in 1875. And again, the Chinese were brought out to have this picture taken. And you can see they're not formally dressed here. They're in their work clothes.
Yep, they all got aprons and gloves and hands on their hip.
Now, there's also a collection of photos of portraits of the Chinese. Some of them we actually have names for them. In 1870, the Methodist Church spearheaded an effort to go into the mill and teach the Chinese to read and speak English, and of course convert them to Christianity.
Exactly, make them Christians. Think of all the graces in heaven they would get. We brought all these souls to Jesus.
Hopefully, yeah. So there were so many volunteers that it was literally one tutor to every student, and some of the teachers were children teaching adults. And of course, one very famous relationship that sprang from this was Lou Jimgong and Fanny Burlingame. She was a Baptist and a teacher, and ultimately she adopted him. The other relationship was one of the Methodist girls. She was a child, but when the Chinese went and started having photos taken of themselves, they gave her copies of them. And the first set of photos, they are in Chinese garments, and a lot of them are in the Mongol emperor poses. You know, they're sitting with their feet flat and their knees spread and their hands resting on their knees. And it was a way of saying, I have power. And then when they started dressing in American clothes, they went and had more done, and they sent these back to their families as well. And of course, they were wearing American clothes. See, I have American power now.
Wow. Now, some said that these Chinese went to Boston, and the founders of Chinatown. But no, they went back to China.
Well,
You don't know.
7 of them died here in North Adams.
Well, that leaves another
And
51.
well, we have 2 headstones in Hillside, one from the last one to die and one from the first one. And the first one, if you're the stone looks blank, but if you're up there at the right time of day, which is between noon and 2 p.m., and look at the bottom, and you can see the bottom of 3 columns of Chinese characters.
Oh, cool.
So I'm guessing that was carved by one of these men here. So their contract expired in 1880. Most left town. Some went back to San Francisco. Some went to Boston. Some stayed here.
We should say where this building is. You say Marshall Street.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
no, it's,
Well, this is where the courthouse
which
is now.
yeah, across from Mass Mocha.
Yes.
It's on the edge of the river. Just you're gonna pass this there. I don't know. Would Dagnoli's funeral parlor or be anywhere close to this?
His would,
I don't know that. Yeah.
well, no, Patience.
Oh, yeah.
Their funeral parlor would be off to the right.
Yeah. And the old Italian church, that would be farther up the street. Then we had to go down the.
That was actually built off Holden Street.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then when that came down in the 1950s, they built the new church, which is now St. Elizabeth of Hungary.
Right. This is guys getting ready to go
Down to work in the west shaft.
But I think these guys are surveyors. I think he's got like a transit, and these guys. But I don't know. They're wearing like these leather jackets, leather coats. Those are made out of some kind of. It can't be made out of a plastic. It has to be leather or some sort.
Probably leather.
Yeah. So this is the engineer taking a measurement.
Again, west shaft.
And this is Posewell. And these guys are going down with a drill.
Yes.
They're going down an elevator. But 5 guys in the elevator with a. Hope that elevator works.
Oh, wait. Let's look at that sign up above.
Yeah, it says no admittance. Can you see anything in it? It just says no admittance. I don't know if it says something underneath it. Is it just scratches? It's pretty good for this 1860s technology. And they're scanning. I can't imagine how good their scanner was.
All right, this is drilling using the Burley pneumatic drill in the tunnel itself.
You think they'd be carrying it down in that elevator, one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah. Working in the mine.
At one
Look at
point,
a tunneler.
there were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there were 6 work faces going on down there.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because east and west, and then central, and then 2 ways. What
and
are
the two shafts.
Oh,
There was the central shaft and the west shaft.
all right. Yeah. And the eastern portal, whatever. But this is a great picture. Look at these guys' faces. They posed for this. Uh, they're all uh, big beard, filthy, dirty hands.
All right, and this is where they're putting in the wires,
Uh,
the overhead wires.
yeah, this was a separate photo. This was one of those stereopticons, so this could be what, turn of the century?
Later than that, the tunnel was electrified in 1910.
I think one guy's smiling. He's having a great
Yeah.
time.
Actually, he reminds me of Eric Idle.
This is the Monty Python sketch. Guy holding up a wrench. That's pretty good. Just checking out the hat. No, some are actual hoodies.
And this, I gather, this was after the nitroglycerin works closed.
It is. So it's all grown in. I don't know what this guy is. He's a door-to-door salesman. What's he got in his pocket?
Or
Well,
he
maybe-
might just be someone who was passing by. Hey, you want to be in the photo?
Or it could be a camera. You think this guy is? Yeah, it is. Look, he's holding a tripod.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So this is a photographer taking a picture of a photographer. Graffiti. LT. He goes, look at the next shot. This is
Ah, yes, when it was
out-
open.
when it was
And
in
notice this
operation.
guy is sitting there.
Oh, yeah. Weird. They probably told him. Great warning. All persons are warned to keep away from these words. Dangerous. In italics. How many letters are there in nitroglycerin? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 letters?
And not only that, but Mowbray called it tri-nitroglycerin, TRI hyphen.
Do they still use it? Oh, yeah, for medication for
Yeah, people with heart conditions
conditions,
take it.
yeah. And this is the factory. I can't
Yeah.
imagine what the production was, how they manufactured it. But this is where they made it.
Now, this
Could be one of your mystery pictures, I think.
actually, I have used it as a mystery picture. The road you're seeing there is South Church Street. The building that you're looking at is the Brown Brothers factory. Mowbray invented an electric detonator, electric detonating system. The Brown Brothers also made one, and it became the detonator of choice in the tunnel, preferred even over Mowbray's.
Oh.
In later years, this was converted into an apartment block. And then finally it came down.
And now it's a personal storage space,
Yeah.
yard. I remember this building. And I remember how Ruth Brown was so disappointed when it was torn down because that's her descendants, right?
Yep.
And her son, what's her son's name? William B. Brown was a registrar of deeds in Adams and did an amazing amount of research on the early the pioneer
I
settlers in
think
Adams.
that was her father.
Oh, yes, it
William
was her
B.
father, not her brother. You're right.
Yeah. But of course, her father, I'm sorry, her grandfather was blinded by one of his experiments. He had a chemistry shop behind the house, and he was mixing some fulminate of copper, and it blew up and blinded him. And at that point, his younger brother, Isaac, left whatever it was that he was doing and became his brother's eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, well, Isaac had two things to do with the tunnel, three if you count this. The first thing is that his first job working away from home was working at the East Camp, carrying nitroglycerin into the tunnel for blasting. It's later something he described as the most idiotic thing he ever did in his life. And the second thing is, he was a songwriter, and he wrote a song about the Hoosic Tunnel. When do we get to the tunnel? When do we get there? When do we get there, pray? Wake me, conductor, if sleeping. Don't let me miss it, I pray. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah, it's a
tunes.
neat song. All right, so let's move along. There it is, the Great Bore itself.
And yeah, this is the centennial. This is sort of the beginning of the reawakening of North Adams history. And then after this came, the historic survey and the museum and all that. This is a great poster. They did a good job. I like it.
Yes,
They
indeed.
reused this,
Did you ever take a ride through the tunnels?
No.
Yeah, they did a couple of those, and I managed to get on one of them. And when we went through the first time, of course, you go through to the other end and then come back. Well, they kept the lights on in the car. So looking out the window was like looking in a mirror. You can put your eye right up to it, and you can't see anything out there. On the way back, they were going to have some lights in between the cars. So they turned off the lights in the car, and mostly you see darkness flashing by. And their idea of having a light between the car is someone was there with a flashlight. So if you look closely, you could see a dim shaft of light there.
So if they didn't have those lights, would it be completely dark? I mean, you'd be sitting in darkness?
No, they do have
Just
a
somewhat light
couple of
coming through?
dim lights in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
inside
but
the
it
car.
is largely dark.
And then the train cars, did they have lights on in the train cars? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's not dark. All right. Can you imagine
But I
driving
did
through
find-
hours of,
I did
black?
find online some footage that someone shot going through the tunnel. They set up their camera on the rear platform. And so you see the light, whoosh, you're in the tunnel, and he switched to infrared so that you could see what was going by, which was not a whole lot, but
It's a tunnel. It was a tunnel.
yeah. Now, we have about 5 minutes left. Shall we look at another photo?
Yeah.
And then,
I think this is the end of the Hoosic Tunnel series. Yeah, because then we have all the panoramic. Okay. This is a good place to
all
end.
right. So, let's take that. There we go. Now, Joanne, would you please put the photo in front of us again? Thank you. And I'm sure our 3 viewers are thanking her too.
Yeah.
All right, so we asked you, or rather I asked you, where was this particular railroad crossing? That's cheating, looking around the back like that.
I know. I'm sure to see if there's any kind of, if anybody wrote anything on the back of the photograph. Did they
No,
write anything back?
this is the Furnace Street railroad crossing. Now, when the Hadley overpass was put in, that's the big green bridge, by the way, folks, that goes over the river.
It's red now.
Fine, whatever. That eliminated the State Street crossing, and then a footbridge was put in here. So there we go. Furnace Street comes down here and went through the two houses there. I think the one in the foreground is gone, but the one beyond it is still there.
Isn't one of them the Harm Reduction Center? Or whatever,
Yes.
at the top of the hill?
Yes, exactly.
Which also used to be the Boston, no, the North
Boston
Adams Fish
Seafood.
Market, you know, and Boston Seafood was there. Or that's what they called
Yeah.
it. Because I remember it was called the Fish Market or something. Let's see, what if I can do what you do? I can't. Oh, I got to do it over here. I can go sideways. Can I
Yeah,
do it?
see, it's
What is-
tricky because you're doing, everything is backwards.
I know. No, I still got it right.
There you go.
That's crazy. What is that little guardhouse for? What do you think? Good is that?
That, I believe, is something to do with the switches.
Too bad you can't. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he says stop on it. Okay. But there probably was still a crossing guard there. Oh, not anymore. Probably back in the day,
Yeah.
but not when cars are here. Yeah.
Well, of course, I think when this photo was taken, people were smart enough to stop when they saw a train coming.
No, okay. They thought they could beat the train, so they step on it and see if they can get across the tracks, and something happens. Or
Well, you know, when we were in
train wreck.
Building 6 in Heritage Park, we saw two derailings here.
wow.
One
caused them?
was shortly after we moved in, I guess a section of track slipped, and a full coal car headed east, disconnected from the train and
Wow.
went over against the wall. Didn't tip over. And the next day, there were a couple of sections of track already mounted on ties, stacked by the track about where my shoulder is. And they came down, oh, they had the neatest toys. Once they got the track fixed enough, a small crane went in and hooked up the back part of the car. And then this huge construction crane came down there on a car, was put under the bridge and then raised up, and they lifted that car up, put it
Set
right on the
down.
track.
Wow.
And I see we are just about out of time. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed yourselves more than we did, which wouldn't be difficult. Oh, that reminds me, you know how important it is to look after endangered species.
Yes.
Well, I urge you all to give generously to Tempura House. It's a home for battered shrimp.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you in 2 weeks again here on Porch Talk. And Joanne, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanne.